My name is Mary Gray. I am the Community Education Officer at Chelsea Groton Bank. And while I teach financial education now, as well as business education, my background is also in marketing. I spent 6 years as a marketing director at another agency. So if you have any questions, please feel free to either stop me and ask. You can pop questions into comments, and I am happy to answer those. And so today we're going to be talking about how to make LinkedIn work for you. So what is it? It's a social network for professionals. You can get career advice, you can maintain your connections, network with other professionals, and do some job searching. It's a great place to join groups and learn more about your field, learn more about other people's field, maintain those connections from previous employers, and whatever it may be, make new connections at either potential employers or potential partners. So it is a really great place for business people to do business and have a kind of social network that is more professional than, say, a Facebook or an Instagram or something like that. So why might you want to be on LinkedIn? Well, 3 out of 4 members use LinkedIn for everything business, from keeping up on trends to reading business news. It's a really great place to grab articles or have a conversation in a group. 64% agree that LinkedIn helps develop relationships and grow new business. For people that are looking to make connections in either similar fields or adjacent fields or partners that they can work together with, it's a really great place to do that. You can identify individuals that may work at companies that you're interested in partnering with that are in the right position to either partner with you or work with you. And members are 2 times more confident in the information found on LinkedIn than other social sites, especially when it comes to business. So business professionals are putting the information out there, they're writing blogs, they're sharing articles, and the LinkedIn users feel that they're more confident with the information for business that they find on LinkedIn that they might find on other social networks, which really makes sense because LinkedIn is for business, while other social networks are for chatting with your family and, you know, connecting with loved ones. So it's different types of information for different people. So, you know, what can you use LinkedIn for? So this happens to be my profile. You can get back in touch with old colleagues. It's a great place to, you know, find people that maybe you've worked with previously and connect with them, see how they're doing, see what they're doing. Use your profile as a resume. You can do a job search on here. And if you do the job search, you can use your profile as a resume. I would really only do that if your profile is filled in 100%, that you've got everything on there. And I would also back that up with an actual resume and cover letter. I wouldn't leave that as an exclusive resume. Find and apply for jobs. So companies do post jobs on here. Find and connect with new professionals. So, you know, if you're looking again for those partners or people that might have similar jobs as yourself, or in other jobs that you find interesting, or, you know, whatever it might be, you can connect with those people. You can participate in relevant groups, and you should participate in relevant groups. So whether that be, you know, an alumni group from your college, or, you know, a group of professionals that talk about whatever your career topic is, or, you know, something that you do volunteerism with. Maybe you could start your own group. If you're not finding a group out there that looks like it's something that you're interested in joining, you can always start your own group, which is great because if it's a topic that you're interested in, you're not finding anything out there that's similar, there are probably plenty of people out there that are looking for that also. And you can blog about what you know. So if you do a blog, you can, copy and paste it here. You can share a blog. You can create a blog exclusively on LinkedIn. So for example, if you don't have a website or something like that, you can create your blog on LinkedIn and then use that to share to other social networks or with colleagues, with other professionals. It's a really great place to be able to create that and have it look a little bit more professional. So what do you need to complete on your LinkedIn profile? So you definitely do need a profile picture, your location, and your industry. That is really going to help people narrow down whether you are somebody that they know. I know that I went looking for a new Chelsea got an employee the other day, and there were very many similar people with similar names. The hard thing is if they don't have their location on there, like if I don't know that they're in Connecticut, then I can't be sure that that is the right person that I'm looking for, especially now that we're all remote. So we may not see people face to face. We may not know what that person looks like. So we are relying solely on information that we have about that person, potentially a former job, or where they're currently working or where they live. So the photo may not help, but if you've met that person, the photo is important. Your photo is definitely important. Your educational background, how did you get here? What are we doing what we're doing? Current work position and description, what do you do at your current place of employment? 2 past positions. So I have all of my past positions on my LinkedIn profile because it doesn't hurt, but you should at least have 2. I have done a huge variety of things. I volunteer with a huge variety of groups of organizations. Having that all on there does not hurt me, but you should definitely at least have 2. If you only have your current employer, people are just going to wonder, what happened before that. If that's the only place you've ever worked, if you're young, if it's your first position, that's perfectly fine. Do you volunteer with any organizations? Did you have a college job? Like, think through what's on your resume, and that's what you should be putting on your LinkedIn profile. Your skills, what are you good at? So because I've done a wide variety of jobs, my skills are kind of wide variety. So having all of those on there are really important. Companies that are looking for specific employees might be looking for you to have a specific skill set. For example, when I was hired at Chelsea, they were looking for somebody that is not only good at education, can be good at marketing, is good at public speaking, can be an educator, but also understands finance. So you can't see my whole background on here, but prior to my degrees in education, while I was in college, I worked for another bank. So all of those things fell into place when we were talking about, would I be a good fit for Chelsea? A minimum of 50 connections. So it looks a little bit shady. Think about, your social networks profiles. If you've got somebody that wants to be your Facebook friend and they have only 2 other friends, unless it is an elderly parent of yours that just doesn't really use social media, it makes you wonder, is this person a real person, or is this a bot, or does this person, what's up with this? So get your 50 connections going, because it's really important to have those connections. It's how you're going to see articles. It's how you're going to make new connections. It is basically how LinkedIn works. So definitely go out there and make those connections. Does it mean you have to sit down on day 1 and find 50 connections? No, but it's actually really easy, because once you put in all of your former places of employment, or places that you volunteer or where you went to college, people are going to be fed up to you. Like, do you know this person? Do you know this person? Because they've either worked at that organization before, or, you know, maybe they went to college with you and they graduated in the same year or a similar year. So it's going to be very easy to find those 50 people. So don't stress about that. But it is a good place to start when you're building your profile. So your profile summary. So this tells about you. This happens to be Kristen Brewer. She is our graphic designer at the bank. She has a really great about us profile summary. So you want to tell your story. Who are you? You also want to tell it in a voice that makes sense for you. So if Kristen is very artistic, she does a lot of artistic things other than being a graphic designer. She does amazing paintings and artwork and glass work. So if her profile was very tight and very business-like, that does not speak to us in her voice. That does not tell us who Kristen is. So Kristen's profile is very story-like. She spells out exactly what is she good at. She talks about, you know, who she is as a person, what she wants, and that's great. You're going to want to stick to like 3 to 5 paragraphs. You don't want to go and write, you know, a 16-page essay about everything you've done. You're going to lose people and nobody is going to read all of that. So get it out there, 3 to 5 paragraphs, what makes sense, what is going to tell the story about you, and lose the jargon. Every industry has jargon, but not everybody else outside that industry understands what that is. So if you are using words that they really make sense to you, right? They might make sense to you, they might make sense to your colleagues, but they might not make sense to anybody else. Even somebody within the same industry, if they use different words that mean the same thing. Different companies might have different ways that they express things. So lose the jargon, talk like you're talking to somebody who has absolutely no idea what you do in this world, and you will be much more successful. Leave plenty of white space. Don't make everything so tight. Don't make it all wordy. Put a couple of, you can see that she's got a couple of spaces in here between the paragraphs. They are not one right on top of the other. Make it easy to read, easy for the eyes to read, and definitely proofread. Don't just type it in there and think that you are done. Make sure that everything is spell checked. If you have to type it in a Word document or something else that's going to do the spell check for you, before that, go ahead and definitely do that and then copy and paste it into LinkedIn. It will make much more sense. Think about if you were going to give your resume to somebody, you wouldn't want it chock full of spelling errors. That will turn people off. And bad grammar is exactly the same. It doesn't come across as professional, even if what you do isn't, you know, overtly professional. You want to come across as knowledgeable and competent, and spelling errors and grammatical errors don't make it seem that way. Your headshot is pretty important. So your headshot should be kind of based on the type of job that you do. Make it make sense. The right headshot will get you far more connections, requests, businesses, and even jobs than the wrong headshot would get. While we all would love to say that we do not make snap judgments as soon as we look at a person, we all know that that is not true. We all come with our own biases. When we look at somebody, we make a decision about whether that person looks competent, whether we think we might like that person, whether we think that they would be a good fit for a position before we even read anything else. That's why resumes are so great, because you get the resume before you see the person. And so you have a knowledge base about that person before they come to an interview. LinkedIn's a little bit different. They're seeing you up front. So make sure that the picture that you put on there makes sense for you. Maybe you're not at a party and you don't have a beer in your hand. Maybe it's not you and somebody else. If it's you and somebody else, and I'm looking at your profile and we've never met before, I have no idea which one of those people are you. So make sure that the right headshot is the right thing. Photo Feeler is a great application to use. It really is an online application. You can create your login, you can upload some photos, and people will tell you what they think about that photo. They're going to rate it based on whether you want to use it for business, for social, or for dating. Oh, if you have a dating application, if you're doing online dating, you should definitely be using this. We have had conversations in different classes about that before. You upload your photos, people will vote on them. They'll tell you whether they think you look competent, likable, influential, and you can decide which of the photos that you've uploaded is the one that you would like to use for a profile picture. So if you only have one headshot, go with that. If your company has done a headshot and they have approved the headshot, definitely do that. If you don't, and you're making choices and you're not quite sure about the choices that you're making, Photo Feeler might be the right place for you. So what should you be sharing? Blog posts. So if you've created a blog for yourself, it will alert people that are following your blog, but definitely share it out onto your page. Industry, news, and research. If things are coming out in your industry, definitely be sharing that out there. Not everybody gets to see the same things every once in a while. If your company is doing something really innovative and amazing, and you have just released something that is great, definitely be sharing that out there. Some quick tips. If you have quick tips, if you have come across something that is great and helps you as a workaround, that is a great thing to be sharing. People find that super valuable. Company updates. So if you, for your company, these are the types of things, if you want to share their posts, any kind of branded infographics, articles, case studies, white papers, or videos, those are great things to be sharing out. Any job postings for your company or anything in your field, anything that you think that people that your connections might be interested in. Predictions. If you're working in a field where there may be predictions, you might want to share that information out. For example, there is a lot of information this morning about how the housing market is slowing down. It has been on fire, and it is starting to slow down as the pandemic kind of eases up. So people are making predictions about the housing market at this point. So if that's you, those are great things to be sharing out, especially if you're knowledgeable in that. If you're not knowledgeable in that, you can't answer the questions that might come from the post. Maybe it's not for you, but if somebody else has made the post, and you want to share theirs, and they can go back to the original article and ask the person that posted it questions, that is a great thing to do. How you're going to make connections. So you're going to want to engage your contacts with updates. Creating your profile and just leaving it there does not help you make connections because you've done nothing. You're not putting anything out. There's nothing for anybody to really take a look at. You want to engage in group discussions. So in those groups that you've joined, joining them is great, but not participating doesn't really help anyone. So make sure that you're joining in on group discussions. Start a group discussion. If you have a question that you're trying to get answered, pop it in the group and see if they can help, but make sure to engage with their responses. Add a custom URL to your email signature line. So if you've got your email going out from work, if you want people to connect with you on LinkedIn, do the follow me on LinkedIn with your custom signature line, whether it be mine I think is at Maria Gray, but definitely plug that in there. because it's easier for people to find you. You can just also make it a clickable link in your email subject line, in your email signature line. Don't put it in the subject line. Then you can, people can just click it and find you, and they don't have to like go to the LinkedIn and type it all in. Use the people you may know feature. So people you may know is great. We've got it on Facebook, we've got it on other things, and it's also on LinkedIn. So take a look, because as you make new connections, you'll see more people that you may know based on their connections. So you may find that there are new people that you may know that you actually do know over time, that they're not all there when you first log in, but as you create those new connections, and it will populate with more people that you may know. And outside, because on other social media platforms like a Facebook or an Instagram, we really only want to be friends with people that we actually know, because we are sharing things that are very personal. We're sharing information that might be a little bit more private. LinkedIn's a little bit different, because you want to connect with people that you might not actually know, but that you're interested in. So if you're a connection with somebody, their connections may be of interest to you, because if you and they have a connection, you might have a connection with their connections. So those people will pop up in the people you may know feature. You can also use it to go and find people that are interested to you. If you're interested in working at a company, go search out some employees, look at what they're posting. Follow them, have conversations with them, and that's how you make connections. So the top do's of LinkedIn. So you're going to want to customize that public profile URL. So just like I was saying, you don't want it to be whatever LinkedIn assigns you. You don't want it to be linkedin.com/00073641542, because that doesn't make sense to anybody. It's not easy to tell anybody. You can't put that on your business card. Nobody knows what is going on there. So customize that public profile URL, make it your first name, last name. If that's already taken, because Miria Gray is a very uncommon name, but a lot of people have definitely more common names than that. Can you add in your middle initial? Can you add something in there like a 0 after it or something like that? Whatever it might be. Can you use your last name, first name? Something that makes sense. Make sure that it's still very business-like. Think back to what we tell people about email addresses and applying for jobs. You do not want your custom public profile URL to be linkedin.com pretty kitty. Like, it's probably free, but there is a reason for that. So, make sure that you remember that this is a business platform and that these are people that you want to make connections with for business purposes. Add a LinkedIn background photo. So very much like other social media, like a Facebook, there is a cover photo area. Mine happens to be a local waterfall and a cup of Starbucks. Says a lot about me. So a profile picture that makes sense for you, it makes sense for your business. It's calming, or whatever, something that is nice looking, maybe applies to you. Get endorsed for your skills. So if you've worked with people before, LinkedIn allows people to endorse you for your skills. So if you've had a relationship, a customer relationship, a partner relationship with somebody else, it does not hurt to ask them to give you an endorsement for your skills. So did we work together? Was the event good? Was it good? Was it a good presenter? Was it, did you have a good partnership? Were you a good speaker? Did you fulfill all the obligations of the contract? Did you go above and beyond? Did you put out there everything? Get them to say that you were great at whatever it is that you did. Be identifiable. So A lot of times on there, I see profiles that do not have a cover photo, do not have a profile image, and very little information filled out. So as I'm trying to assess whether you're the person that I think that you are, if we've met before, if I could see your picture, that would be great. If we've never met before, if I can see the company you work for, that would also be great. Hiding things from people, because this should be very business centric, most businesses put out there who their employees are and some contact information for them. That information is already out there. We shouldn't really be putting anything on LinkedIn, like your home address isn't there. Maybe your city and town is there, but it should definitely be your state. But definitely be identifiable. Have somebody be able to pick you out. Join at least one LinkedIn group. That's where you can make connections outside of that people you may know feature. You know, if you enjoy people's answers to your questions or they're giving you valuable feedback, you know, following them, connecting with them on LinkedIn is a great thing. Add everyone that you know that is business related. You don't necessarily need to have your mom on here. If your mom's on LinkedIn, you do not need to necessarily connect with her because, again, this is business centric unless you and your mom work together. My mom and I did work together for a while, so she is not on here on mine, but she could be, and that would be a business connection for me from a previous employer. Personalized messages and connections. So if you would like to connect with somebody, make sure you personalize it. LinkedIn allows you to just like connect with somebody, but maybe send them a personal message with it, like why you want to connect with them, why does it make sense to connect with them, if you're going to send them a message, LinkedIn will allow you to just like click buttons. It will say, this makes sense for what you're commenting on, like congratulations or whatever it may be. But personalizing that so people don't think that you're just clicking congratulations to say congratulations comes across much more genuine. We would like to make genuine connections in our business world because people remember that more. So make those genuine connections, personalize those messages, and it doesn't really take that much effort to write congratulations and then their name, or congratulations and why it's congratulations on, you know, 20 years of service or whatever it might be. Have a professional headshot. Now, don't let this make you worried if you don't have a company that's going to take a professional headshot for you. Don't think that you have to go out there and spend, $90 or, $350 having somebody take a picture of you. You can have a professional headshot. It's very easy now with your camera on your phone to take a really nice up close photo, blur the background a little bit. So do it in front of a plain wall, go outside in front of a tree, sit on a fence or whatever it might be, and have somebody take a photo of you, play around with it on your phone until it looks nice. Don't be 200 yards away, be pretty up close, have that tight face, because that's what people are interested in. They don't want to see all of the background in your pictures. They want to see who you are. They don't care about what is behind you. They want to know who you are, what you look like. Are you dressed professionally? We're on Zoom now, so you could have on, like, I happen to be going out today, even though I am working from home, so I do have on, very professional outfit, but who knows? So anybody can see in a headshot is from here up. So do a nice from here up, and nobody will know. Keep it professional. Again, don't have two pictures, two people in a photo. Don't be holding a glass of beer or wine. Don't be giving somebody a kiss on the cheek. Keep it professional. Unless for some reason you're like a makeup artist and it's a really close picture of you, and maybe in the back you're doing somebody's makeup, but be very, very careful about that, because you want people to see what you look like and not be confused about, are you the person getting your makeup done? Use rich media. So LinkedIn used to be mostly about text. You could write a blog with no pictures and just throw it up there. But now you want to attract people's attention. So share a video, share an article that has an image in it, share an image. So you want to use that rich media, something that's going to attract attention to people and make it stand out amongst everything else that happens to be in your feed for the day. You want to catch their attention quickly. If you've written a blog, if you're writing a post, don't make the whole first paragraph super wordy and leading in. Do not bury the lead. Tell people what you want to tell them right away. Catch their attention so that they're going to read that. Otherwise, they're just going to scroll by. Think about the things that you find most annoying. So for me, I find most annoying when I want to look for a recipe and I have to read a whole story about, why this recipe is important to that person. I don't really care about that. I just want to know how to make the chicken. But I end up having to scroll forever, seemingly, to get to the recipe. Do not do that on LinkedIn. Post your recipe and then tell why that is important to you. Unless the story is really great. Like, here's how I burned the chicken the one day. And, and then your recipe. But make it really interesting. Don't bury the lead. Put it up there. Share links from other users. You do not want it to be all about you. Nobody's going to come visit your page. Nobody's going to follow you if you are just spurting on and on about you. Make your content relevant to other people that are following you. Make it interesting. Make them want to follow your page. Make them want to get alerted when you post something. So because it's relevant to them and what they do. Sharing links from other people allows you to help fill in some of that content without it being all about you. And then when you post something that is yours, it stands out because people are like, oh, no, not another thing from her. I didn't want to see another video. I don't want to hear about another thing. So make it interesting. And then people will stay and be interested about the thing that you really want to share about you. Stay top of mind. So this means don't set up your LinkedIn profile and then walk away for a year and do nothing with it, because that doesn't help you at all. Does it mean you have to be on social media every day and be checking? I just set up alerts so that, if somebody sends me a message or if somebody comments on something I posted, I am on it. And I know that if I post something, I should be checking in to see if there are any comments on it. But for the most part, this isn't, a Facebook or an Instagram where you have to feel like that you need to stay on top of it and be super fresh. Maybe something once a week is fine. It does not have to be, 5 times a day or like a Twitter. Be relevant. Don't just put content out there to put content out there. But definitely stay top of mind. Don't go away for 6 months and then come back and post something because that's really important, because people might not see that. So stay top of mind. But here are some don'ts. Don't send spammy messages to your connections. So the one thing I hate the most is when I agree to be a connection with somebody and then they send me a spammy message about, do I want to buy their product? The answer to that is no. If the only reason you have added me as a connection is to ask me if I want to buy your product, the answer is flat out going to be no. Unless your product is super amazing. More than likely, I would just be like, no, thank you. But add me as a friend. Tell me about what you do on your page. Let me follow you. Send it to me that way. If I'm expressing interest based on comments that I'm making on your posts, definitely send me a message to see if I want to buy your product. But don't add me as a connection just to send me a spammy message about, having a product. Don't lock down your profile. You can make your profile private, but if you do make your profile private, people aren't going to be able to find you. So, don't lock it down. We shouldn't be putting things out there that are so super private or so sensitive that people are going to be able to find you. If you work for a company, and that's what we're talking about here, more than likely people can find you through that way. It's just much more of a hassle. If I'm looking for somebody that works for a company, I typically go to LinkedIn first versus going to their website and searching through their website for employees or doing a Google search or something like that. It's just easier to go to LinkedIn and type in a name. Don't export connections to your email list. So first of all, that is illegal, but people definitely do it. And you can export your connections, but exporting them to just send them an email without asking their permission first is, you are not allowed to do that. So don't do that. It's also not nice. You can ask people to sign up for your email. So post a link so that they can sign up, but definitely just don't download everything so that you can send them emails. Don't ask people that you don't know to endorse you. If you've never worked together, if you've never done anything, why would they be endorsing you? You wouldn't ask, in real life, just walk up to somebody on the street and be like, hey, would you write me a review? So we're not going to do that on LinkedIn either. Don't criticize others or comment negatively. This kind of is like, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. Remember that this is a business page, and thinking through what potential employers, potential colleagues, potential partners might think about what you're saying. If you're saying something negatively about somebody else, what might you be saying negatively about them? If you're bad-mouthing a former employer on a social platform, what are new employers going to think about what you're saying about former employers? It's really just not the place to do it. If you don't like what somebody posted, if you can come up with a very well thought out response to what they posted, but just posting something that says, that's not right, it doesn't even make any sense, nobody wants to see that. So, if you have a rebuttal to it, can you post a link to an article that rebuttals what they posted? Make it make sense in a business way and without being, the juicy gossip circle. Oops. Don't forget to check and reply to comments. So if you post something, definitely if somebody comments on it, that you might want to respond to them, at least say thank you, and check and make sure if it's getting any feedback. Just look on there. Don't send multiple requests. So for example, if you requested to connect with somebody and they didn't connect with you, you do not want to appear like you're stalking them. So, don't send multiple requests if they haven't responded, or if they say no. They may not actually be on LinkedIn. A lot of people create a LinkedIn profile and set it and forget it and just leave it there. They might not even have known that you asked. And if when they go back, 6 months later, you don't want them to see 3 requests from you to be their connection. That just looks weird. Don't be afraid to ask for endorsements. If you have worked with somebody, if you've partnered on something in the past, if you worked with a former colleague, don't be afraid to ask them to endorse you. That is perfectly fine. Don't feel obligated to recommend subpar individuals. So this is really important. If I'm looking through somebody's profile and seeing whether I would like to partner with them, and somebody I know or somebody that I think looks like a really good source says that this person was a really good educator, was a really good speaker, and I reach out to them to partner on a class, and they do the class and it is absolutely horrible. The person that recommended them, not only is that connection broken, but the person that recommended them, I might be wondering, what were they thinking? Was the experience different? So if you don't think somebody's great, you don't necessarily have to say that somebody is great. Think about what it is that you want to say. You can always decline, or you can give a recommendation that isn't glowing. You would hope that if it was about experience, that person wouldn't ask you to recommend them, because, you never know what you're going to get. And don't forget to update your profile. Sorry, I have a tickle. Don't forget to update your profile. If you've switched jobs, if you joined a new volunteer effort, if things have changed, just update your profile. Okay, so that is kind of all I had for this morning. Does anybody have any questions?